John Milton is known as the poet of Paradise Lost. He was one of the most influential English poets. He was also a polemicist. He wrote some political treatises and things that were arguable during his time. It's the 1600s. He's considered one of the greatest English authors, though, next to William Shakespeare. He was a Protestant in London. He was born in 1608. Very few people know, however, that he wrote poems besides that one, smaller poems, shorter poems. There's a collection published in 1645 called The Poems of Mr. John Milton. But I've got a book of poems and stories here about Christmas. It's the Treasury of Christmas, Christmas Treasury. It's published in the 1980s. And I'm thumbing through it. It has dozens and dozens, maybe close to at least 80 different stories. It's a lot. One of them is written by John Milton, and I read it to our children last night, or 2 nights ago. I want to read it to the listeners because it's really good. Poems are meant to be listened to also, by the way. There's a lyrical cadence to them, and they often demand, like Rudyard Kipling, for instance, or the Iliad, it demands to be read aloud. His poem on Christmas is actually called On the Morning of Christ's Nativity. And as I read it to the children, it began to dawn on me how profound the poem was, the theology of it, considering all the aspects of Christ's birth. It was really good. So I want to read it to you. It was published in 1629. He was born in 1608. So that means he was 21 years old when he wrote this. It's merely 27 stanzas long, so not very long. Each of these stanzas could be memorized for children in schools. If you're looking for something for kids to memorize or recite at a Christmas celebration for schools, this would be a great poem, at least portions of it, to memorize. It's thick, it's deep, it's solid. There's a lot there. You sip on it. You don't blaze through it. You read it, you stop, you memorize it, you ponder it, recite it to yourself. Here's John Milton, On the Morning of Christ's Nativity. This is the month, and this the happy morn, wherein the Son of Heaven's eternal King, of wedded maid and virgin mother born, our great redemption from above did bring, for so the holy sages once did sing, that he our deadly forfeit should release, and with his Father work us a perpetual peace. That glorious form, that light unsufferable, and that far-beaming blaze of majesty, wherewith he wont at heaven's high council table to sit the mist of trinal unity, he laid aside, and here with us to be, forsook the courts of everlasting day, and chose with us a darksome house of mortal clay. Say, heavenly muse, shall not thy sacred vein afford a present to the infant God? Hast thou no verse, no hymn, or solemn strain to welcome him to his new abode? Now while the heaven, by the sun's team untrod, hath took no print of the approaching light, and all the spangled host keep watch in squadrons bright. One thing that happens in this poem is that he alludes to classical mythology a little bit. Heavenly muse. He invokes Cytherea, I think. He also calls Jesus Pan. He calls him Pan. Interesting points in this hymn. See how from far upon the eastern road the star-led wizards haste with odors sweet. He calls them wizards. O run, prevent them with thy humble ode, and lay it lowly at his blessed feet. Have thou the honor first thy Lord to greet. He's still talking to the muse, the heavenly muse. He's saying, run past the wizards, get in front of them, meet them before there, get to Jesus before them, and join thy voice unto the angel choir, from out his secret altar touched with hallowed fire. It was the winter wild, while the heaven-born child, all meanly wrapped in the rude manger lies. Nature in awe to him had doffed her gaudy trim, with her great master so to sympathize. It was no season then for her to wanton with the sun, her lusty paramour. Only with speeches fair she woos the gentle air, to hide her guilty front with innocent snow, and on her naked shame pollute with sinful blame the saintly veil of maiden white to throw. Confounded that her Maker's eye should look so near upon her foul deformities. If you don't follow there, he's basically saying that the Maker comes close to nature, and nature feels kind of ashamed to be spotted so. But he, her fears to cease, sent down the meek-eyed peace. She, crowned with olive green, came softly sliding down through the turning spear. His ready harbinger, with turtle wing the amorous clouds dividing, and waving wide her myrtle wand, She strikes a universal peace through sea and land. No war or battle sound was heard the world round. The idle spear and shield were high uphung. The hooked chariot stood unstained with hostile blood. The trumpet spake not to the armed throng, and kings sat still with awful eye, as if they surely knew their sovereign Lord was by. But peaceful was the night, wherein the Prince of Light his reign of peace upon the earth began. The winds with wonder whist, smoothly the waters kissed, whispering new joys to the mild ocean, who now hath quite forgot to rave, while birds of calm sit brooding on the charmed wave. Let me just stop here. I really appreciate what he's doing here. He's saying the night was a peaceful one when Jesus was born, but it wasn't because it was all sentimental and quaint. It was because the sovereign God came down and everything hushed. Everyone is silent before the throne of the King. That's why it was a silent night, holy night. It just feels real quaint and like, oh, let me hold my hot cocoa by the fire as we sing this. No, it's not a quaint thing. It's a grand, majestic, awesome thing. That's what Milton is saying here. The stars with deep amaze stand fixed in steadfast gaze, bending one way their precious influence, and will not take their flight for all the morning light, or Lucifer that often warned them thence, but in their gleaming orbs did glow, until the Lord himself bespake and bid them go. And though the shady gloom had given day her room, the sun himself withheld his wanton speed, and hid his head for shame, as his inferior flame the new enlightened world no longer should need. That's pretty good. Why in the new heavens and the new earth does it say we need no sun anymore? For the Son of God is their light, because he's brighter than the sun, and the sun is ashamed. He saw a greater sun appear than his bright throne or burning axletree could bear. The shepherds on their lawn, or ere the point of dawn, sat simply chatting in a rustic row. Full little thought they then that the mighty Pan was kindly come to live with them below. Perhaps their loves or else their sleep was all that did their silly thoughts so busy keep. Milton says here that the mighty Pan came to live. I would like to ask him what he meant. Did he really think that the old god Pan was alluding to Christ somehow? Pan was the god of the shepherds, so it makes sense that he's referencing Pan here for the shepherds. When such music sweet their hearts and ears did greet, as never was by mortal finger strook, divinely warbled voice, answering the stringed noise, as all their souls in blissful rapture took, the air, such pleasure loth to lose, with thousand echoes still prolongs each heavenly close. Nature that heard such sound beneath the hollow round of Cynthia's seat, the airy region thrilling, now was almost won to think her part was done, and that her reign had ere its last fulfilling. She knew such harmony alone could hold all heaven and earth in happier union. Milton basically says, the new Pan has come down, and Cynthia, this goddess, no longer is needed. We have something else here. And she knows it. At last surrounds their sight a globe of circular light, that which long beams the shamefaced night arrayed. The helmed cherubim and sworded seraphim are seen in glittering ranks with wings displayed, harping in loud and solemn choir with unexpressive notes to heaven's newborn heir. Such music, as 'tis said, before was never made. But when of old the sons of morning sung, while the Creator great his constellations set, and the well-balanced world on hinges hung, and cast the dark foundations deep, and bid the weltering waves their oozy channel keep. Ring out, ye crystal spheres, once bless our human ears, if ye have power to touch our senses so, and let your silver chime move in melodious time, and let the bass of heaven's deep organ blow, and with your ninefold harmony make up full consort to the angelic symphony. For if such holy song enwrap our fancy long, time will run back and fetch the age of gold, and speckled vanity will sicken soon and die, and leprous sin will melt from earthly mold, and hell itself will pass away, and leave her dolorous mansions to the peering day. Yea, truth and justice then will down return to men, orbed in a rainbow, and, like glorious wearing, mercy will sit between, throned in celestial sheen, with radiant feet the tissued clouds down steering, and heaven, as at some festival, will open wide the gates of her high palaced hall. But wisest fate says no, this must not yet be so. The babe lies yet in smiling infancy. That on the bitter cross must redeem our loss, so both himself and us to glorify. Yet first to those ye chained in sleep, the wakeful trump of doom must thunder through the deep, with such a horrid clang as on Mount Sinai rang, while the red fire and smoldering clouds outbreak. The aged earth, aghast with terror of that blast, shall from the surface to the center shake, when at the world's last session the dreadful judge in middle air shall spread his throne. And then at last our bliss full and perfect is, but now begins. For from this happy day the old dragon underground in straighter limits bound, not half so far casts his usurped sway, and wroth to see his kingdom fail, swings the scaly horror of his folded tail. The oracles are dumb, no voice or hideous hum runs through the arched roof in words deceiving. Apollo from his shrine can no more divine, with hollow shriek the steep of Delphos leaving. No nightly trance or breathed spell inspires the pale-eyed priest from the prophetic cell. This actually happened. Christians talked about this. After Christ came, the Oracle of Delphi never prophesied again. This is actually recorded by the Romans themselves and the Greeks. The Oracle of Delphi never prophesied again after Jesus came. This is true. Yeah, and the early apologists, the early defenders of Christianity, they said things like this over and over, that all of the old gods are gone. They're fleeing, or they're defeated and chained and thrown in hell because they're gone. The signs are no more, or they're ineffective. And like, for instance, there were people who tried to do things and use the old augurs, like burn a victim or something, or cut the entrails of, and they wouldn't give any signs anymore. Or they would give them false signs that says, like, we're not here. Yeah, the Romans said this. The Greeks, they said this. And they actually turned their religion into something more metaphysical and escapist. So instead of having gods down here that tell you stuff, now it's just stoicism and escapism and spiritualism. And it's more about the life of the mind and abstract, meaningless philosophy and stuff. Moralism. Really, it began to evaporate. And when, who was it? Julian the Apostate came and tried to reinstate the old religion. It was merely mysticism that he was indoctrinated in, because that was what Greek and Roman religion had turned into. Mysticism. Basically fake nothingness that you study. Abstract doctrines and numbers and formulas and things, but it wasn't actually Zeus, come down. He's gone. And all you have is the effervescence remaining. The lonely mountains o'er and the resounding shore, a voice of weeping heard and loud lament. From haunted spring and dale, edged with poplar pale, the parting genius is with sighing sent. With flower inwoven tresses torn, the nymphs in twilight shade of tangled thickets mourn. In consecrated earth and on the holy hearth, the lars and lemurs moan with midnight plaint. In urns and altars round, a drear and dying sound affrights the flamens at their service quaint. And the chill marble seems to sweat, while each peculiar power forgoes his wonted seat. Each peculiar power forgoes his wonted seat. All of the gods are fleeing. The grove gods, the nymph gods, the hearth gods, he says, the consecrated earth gods, the altars, the urns. All of the priestesses and priests are mourning because their gods are gone. They don't know what's happening. They're all fleeing. Peor and Balaam forsake their temples dim. Balaam, that old prophet. With that twice battered god of Palestine and mooned Ashtaroth, heaven's queen and mother both, now sits not girt with tapers holy shrine. The Libyc Hammon shrinks his horn. In vain the Tyrian maids their wounded Thammuz mourn. Thammuz was apparently some god. And sullen Moloch fled hath left in shadows dread his burning idol all of blackest hue. In vain with cymbals ring, they call the grisly king, in dismal dance about the furnace blue, the brutish gods of the Nile as fast, Isis and Horus, and the dog Anubis, haste. Nor is Osiris seen in Memphian grove or green, trampling the unshowered grass with lowings loud, nor can he be at rest within his sacred chest. Naught but profound as hell can be his shroud. In vain with timbreled anthems dark, the stable-stoled sorcerers bear his worship ark. The sable-stoled sorcerers bear his worship ark. This is great. In vain the sorcerers bear his ark. There's no God there anymore. He's gone. He feels from Judah's land the dreaded infant's hand. The rays of Bethlehem blind his dusky eyne. Nor all the gods beside longer dare abide. Not Typhon, huge ending in snaky twine. Our babe, to show his godhead true, can in his swaddling bands control the damned crew. So when the sun, in bed, curtained with cloudy red, pillows his chin upon an orient wave, the flocking shadows pale troop to the infernal jail, each fettered ghost slips to his several grave, and the yellow-skirted fays fly after the night steeds, leaving their moon-loved maze. He says, all of these old gods are just now ghosts that have fled. They're gone. But see, the Virgin blessed hath laid her babe to rest. Time is our tedious song should here have ending. Heaven's youngest teamed star hath fixed her polished car, her sleeping Lord with handmaid lamp attending. And all about the courtly stable, bright harnessed angels sit in ordered serviceable. My favorite part of the poem, I think the largest part, where he's talking about all the other gods are fleeing, going away. And the priests and the priestesses and the worshipers, the devotees, they don't know what's going on. But even the sun, nature itself, is blushed and hides itself. I like how he describes the shepherds. They're at night just kind of talking about nothing, singing songs, chewing on grass and stuff, little flowers of the field. And then cherubim and seraphim show up. It really changes the tune and the tone, the atmosphere, because when we retell it, it's some cute little women angels things. It's not flaming sword and shield, seraphim, fire and fly, But they show up and they sing. And John Milton invokes the stars and said, come on, you stars, you sang at the beginning. When the Creator made you, sing again. The Creator's here.
I found it interesting when he said that all of the warriors had hung their shields and that there was no fighting going on.
Yeah.
And I had known historically that he was born during a time of peace, during the reign of Caesar Augustus, but I don't think I had put it together how fitting it was.
Wow.
That the God of peace came and it was peaceful.
Yeah. I don't know if you understand even what you're saying. Maybe you do, but I don't know if listeners do. Caesar Augustus was reigning during this time. It was a few years after he began reigning, but he brought peace to the Roman Empire.
The Pax Romana.
Everybody knows there was basically 100 years of civil war. Just imagine if the American Civil War had gone on for 100 years. Yeah, off and on, but on for 100 years. Betrayal, treachery, killing, wars, slaughter. And then one man at a very early age, I think he was like 19 when he did it, by the way, his res gestae. If you look up res gestae, the stuff I did, that's literally what it means. Caesar Augustus wrote a book called Stuff I Did, res gestae. And the very first thing he says is, at the age of 19, of my own means and with my own money, I raised an army and brought peace to Rome and turned it into an empire. The very first line. It's the baddest line that any human has ever written. Dude, you were 19 and you raised an army and you put peace to Rome and turned it into an empire and became the emperor. That's boss.
And it wasn't an accident that is when Jesus was born.
And what you're saying and what Milton says just basically makes Augustus Christ's servant.
Yes.
Everything you
exactly.
did, res gestae, Octavius Augustus, res gestae, was just the precursor to make peace for the coming of Christ. Make straight his way, as John the Baptist said. Make his path straight. That's all you did. You were just his servant.
That's amazing.
Wow. Wow. I appreciate that the poem desentimentalizes Christ's birth. It's good to make it sentimental in some ways, but we live on this side of the boomer apocalypse, essentially, where everything that we know about Christmas today is basically 1950s boomer culture. All of the songs, all of the pop songs at least, all of the movies, all of the things that we do, all the food. We were talking about this last night. The notion of coming home. We have to go home for Christmas. Please come home for Christmas. I'll be home for Christmas. All the movies are about people coming home, family getting together. That's nice. It is nice. Nothing wrong with that. But that's not what Christmas is about. That's actually not what it's about.
Right.
Now, it's nice. Do it. But you have to realize, prior to the boomer apocalypse, I call it, boomer all too boomer, before that era, that wasn't what Christmas was about. It just simply wasn't.
And it's in the reading old stories that you learn this.
Right.
Because in all of the old stories, even the children understand that it's the Christ child.
Yeah.
That is the center of their focus.
That book we read that came out, I think after this podcast, you will have heard it, the one about the Finnish landscape.
Yes.
It's about Christmas, and it's not sentimental at all. Now, I'm not saying sentiment is wrong. Sentimentalism is entirely wrong. I'm just saying that there's a different way of looking at Christmas from John Milton and others. And it's prior to the 1950s. You should go back before the 1950s, maybe the 40s. You go back before that, and it's Christ silencing the demons. It's the angelic host, seraphim with flaming swords, singing praises to him, not cute little rosy-cheeked 4-year-old angels, little cherubs with
curls.
With curls, yeah. We just live in a different world today, and it's fine, whatever. But I appreciate this from John Milton at 21 years old, writing this in 1629. Some pretty profound thoughts to chew on for Christmas. I know you and I were talking earlier. I've been watching things go about. And as Christmas gets closer, it's about last minute shopping and cooking and getting the kids ready, and everybody's going to get along on Christmas Day. We're all going to be happy and merry. And that's kind of how parents start to feel inside when it's, we got to go see our parents and your parents and their parents and the grandparents and those grandparents and everybody's everywhere. And then you're like, okay, but where's Christ and all of that? Well, when you do get Christ, it's a sentimental Christ. We laugh and joke that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I've told you many times, you have to watch Christmas Vacation. Oh, you have to watch Christmas with Chevy Chase. It's a classic. Everybody knows. This is boomer Christmas. That's what it is. It's boomer Christmas. It's coastal New England Christmas. We all live in the city. We drive out to the country, cut a tree down. We come home. Everybody's busy. We're seeing people we haven't seen in a year. There's food. There's fun. There's that weird, crazy uncle. Ha ha ha. Jingle bells, eggnog.
Hot cocoa and a white Christmas.
All of that's fun. Look, I'm not being a Grinch. Go do all of that. But also do more. Do more.
And prioritize something else.
Imagine if a seraphim showed up in the middle of all that, singing praises to Christ. It just changes the dynamic. I honestly, in my entire life, I don't think I've ever thought of Christmas and thought, oh yeah, when Christ the babe came and absolutely dominated all of the demons. I've never thought of that. Think of how much richness of Christmas we don't have because of modern culture that bombards us. Walmart, tinsel stuff made in China. I wonder what other poems exist.
Yeah, I will say that's also what you get from reading old stories. Is the depth, the meaning. Like you said, it's not just sentimental nostalgia that you're getting. You're actually getting depth.
Yeah, richness. Rich food.
Right. Seraphim would not be out of place in these stories.
Wow. The tree itself We have a Christmas tree here, and it's very cute and beautiful and lovely and elegant. But how this thing came about is not. Some guy chopped a tree down and kicked the pagan's god in the face and said, Christ is here to conquer. Let's bow down to him.
Yeah, that's true. That's a really great point, because that's what the Christmas tree was. That's what it was doing. It was Boniface saying, no, my God has defeated your God. That's what it was.
Yeah. So I have a favorite Bible verse that talks about this.
I didn't know you had a favorite Bible verse.
I do.
Is it that one in Revelation?
How did you know? What do you think it is?
Well, he's got something in each hand.
Not exactly.
Okay.
It is in Revelation. I have a favorite Bible verse. This is my favorite of all Bible verses. It's actually Revelation 12:5. And it talks about the birth of Jesus. So it's this futuristic prophetic book, apocalyptical, whatever it is, book, apocryphal book, but it's talking about the birth of Jesus. And listen to what it says. The dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth, so that when she bore her child, he might devour it. She gave birth to a male child, one who is to rule all the nations with a rod of iron. Now, some people think that's referring to the church. I think it's referring to Christ. That's my interpretation. But what does it say? She gave birth to a male child. Aw, isn't he cute in his swaddling clothes? Isn't that so? Let's get some eggnog and a fire, and let's go visit our ancestors that we haven't seen in 30 years and just go have a little nice Christmas. Who's to rule with a rod of iron? It goes straight from swaddling clothes, little baby in a manger, to sovereign God. And that's what John Milton did in his poem. The little soft hand of the babe shakes like this in swaddling clothes, and all the gods shudder and flee.
That's an amazing picture, though, right there, with the dragon waiting to devour it.
Yeah, it says, though, he was caught up to heaven.
Wow.
When I first began my time at the homeless shelter I told you about, I spent 2 years volunteering at a homeless shelter, weekly giving sermons there in a chapel before meals. I preached through several books of the Bible. One of them was Revelation. And I remember my friend asking, we were in chapel one time at seminary, and he was like, what are you doing for ministry? Because we all have to do some ministry thing. And I said, well, I'm at the homeless shelter thing, the outreach mission. And he said, oh, what are you preaching through? And I said, Revelation. He said, to the homeless people? And I said, yeah. And he said, why? And I said, because it's bad to the bone, bro. Like, it's awesome. Jesus is on a horse and he's tatted up and he's got a sword, a double-edged sword, and he slays his enemies. This is awesome. I got to watch my mouth when I talk about it, because I'm like, I'm getting up, ready to, like, let's go. There's armies left and right. The enemies are fleeing. There's one of my favorite hymns, Lo, he comes with clouds descending. This is one of my favorite hymns, not just for the sound, but because of the majesty, the scene that it paints in front of you is almost like we're in heaven or outer space or some dreadful judgment day throne situation. And listen to what it says. Every eye shall now behold him, robed in dreadful majesty. Those who set it not and sold him, pierced and nailed him to the tree, deeply wailing, deeply wailing, deeply wailing, shall the true Messiah see. John Milton's poem, we've kind of gotten away from it. It set a lot of good thoughts in our minds, though. A lot more than Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase.
Or the music on the radio.
I will say this, though.
No.
When I put this tree up, we got this big tree. We have 12-foot ceilings here, so we got a 12-foot tree, really big. And as I put it up, it was so tall and complicated that I felt like Chevy Chase getting this massive, this tree takes up a third of our living room. It's almost too big for our living room. And as it was going up, I thought, it's perfect. It's imposing. You have to walk around it in our living room.
I love every inch.
Mm-hmm. We actually got this tree, and I tried to measure it, but as I'm putting it up, I felt exactly like Chevy Chase in Christmas Vacation. he goes and gets this tree, and his kids are like, Dad, do we have to? And he's like, it's the Griswold family Christmas. This is going to work. Come on, kids, let's go. And he's trying to make this big, almost like life achievement thing. Come on, everybody. And he puts the tree up, and it's just huge. It hits the top, and it pushes everybody out of the room. It just literally pushes them. And he's like, it's going to fit. It's going to fit. And I kept saying that while we're putting it up. And then when I got a ladder, our tallest ladder, and I got up there and put the star on, all the kids cheered when I put it on. And I felt just like Chevy Chase when he put all the lights on his house. And then he plugged it in and it lit up, and all the kids are like, you did it, Dad. And he's like, I did it.
Yeah, the star is about 1 centimeter from the ceiling.
It's 1 centimeter from the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost touching it. I had to actually bend the top thing, whatever twig, I had to bend it. Anyway, so there is good in the funny, happy Christmas stuff, but it's something to note. A lot of those Christless Christmas songs are written by people who don't celebrate Christmas.
Right.
They're written by people who reject Christ.
Right. There's a movie a lot of people love to watch. It's called White Christmas. For the record, I hate that movie, but a lot of people like it. But that it was written, same thing, by people who hate Christmas. And if you look at it, it has absolutely nothing to do with Jesus.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And now there are some movies, like people love the movie It's a Wonderful Life, because it has all these redemptive themes and coming home and together, and Christmas
generosity
softens us, and and I don't want to denigrate any of that. That's great. Where is Christ?
Right. Yeah.
Where is Christ? If you don't have Christ, you don't have this. You have basically, like these pagans, you have the altar still, but you don't have the God anymore. Let's not be like them, that we have the tree still, and we have the Christmas, but we don't have the God of Christmas anymore.
Wow.